and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
I want to talk about news, don't want the drama. From no pretentious media Madonna. I found me a great ganja mama. Cannabis and coffee with Tamarijuana.
Hi everyone, welcome to Cannabis and Coffee with me, Tamarijuana. How's everybody doing this week? Is it hot where you are? Oh my god, it's fucking steaming, goddamn hot. Like, when did this happen? I can't even fathom. Like, it's at least 10 degrees more than what normal is. And speaking on that note too, it's usually pretty hot down under, but right now they're heading into winter. And I've got my good friend, and he's also a patient, cannabis patient in Australia with me tonight. So I'm going to bring Murray in so we can start off, talking about his story and how and what he uses cannabis for and what the difficulties are and the obstacles in Australia. So welcome tonight to my friend Murray. Hi, Murray.
Howdy. How's it going?
Oh, pretty good. How are you doing? You're recovering. You're recovering from pneumonia, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And having more rain around here is not helping. But I got the fire going. Can't complain.
Right? Yeah, that's a nice thing. I mean, it's you guys are heading into winter as we're heading into summer, and we've got usual higher temperatures than normal. We got wildfires in northern Alberta that are out of control, like where Alvin is right now, working Grand Prairie, Higher Level, High Prairie, White Court, all those areas in northern Alberta, which are normally not wildfires, and middle of May kind of thing. In fact, it's the 18th of May, so we're in the middle of May, and temperatures are at like 27 degrees.
Yeah,
that's about 10 degrees above average. You guys are usually going into the dry season, and you guys have got rain, and it's damp where it's normally dry and not bad, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's still, this area is tropical rainforest, so there's always wet in a certain way. But normally we're going, this is our dry spell. We're supposed to be able to start to mow and clean our properties up and, hold back the forest. But we're not getting that chance.
Right. And you guys are right on the edge. You got a great big dam, or you call it the dam, right? On your property. And now how full is that? Is it?
Oh, it's my dam leaks, so it hasn't held any water. Right, it's got about a foot or two in it, not much at all. But if the rain keeps flowing, it will fill up. But
do you need that to do you need to use that dugout for water for anything because you guys have to haul water, right?
No, I've got two large tanks of property, so I fill up from that, and it rains at least every month or so. I barely have to get someone out to bring water up. I think I've had that twice in the 7 years I've been here.
Yeah, I remember there was a time you guys were going through a real dry spell there. Hang on, I'm going to bark. I'm going to stop these dogs. Somebody went by with a booming radio. The booming speakers. Now they're barking because they heard that. Hang on, I'm going to yell at her.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing more than annoying than hearing the dogs barking in the background. Yeah, there was a dry spell a few years back when you had to have water hauled, and it was super expensive and stuff.
Yeah,
I remember.
It was everyone was really feeling it. The ground was, there was decent cracks in the ground. You could look down into the earth. And we had fires, covering everywhere. I think you guys, at least the US, picked up the smoke, saw the smoke in the air. So we're happy we're not looking at that we didn't look at that. That was
floods too. Didn't your parents your parents' place in New Wales there flood?
Last year we had major floods. We had over 1,000 mils in a couple of hours, and everywhere Lismore was completely flooded above most people's houses. And then down the coast had flood too. My parents' farm went under, but it's you can't tell where the weather's going. But
right? And that's what's happened over here too. Like we've had like, the floods out at the West Coast last, year. We've had major fires and stuff. And like, and I'm not, me, I don't follow the Bible, any of that crap, right? But things are changing. More tornadoes and more fires and more floods and more stuff. And I'm not saying it's anything other than scientific, because the Earth is actually moving on its axis and it's spinning.
It does this. It does this all the time.
Right. And we have added to it. Like, I'm not going to say that there's nothing climate change.
But
I truly believe in climate change. And I truly believe that man has had a hand in that with our.
But I don't think if we stop, the Earth isn't going to keep going. It's just, like, the pollution is there. Yeah, it'd be great if we could cut it down. We need to cut it down. Smelling, we don't need to have smog in the air. That's ridiculous.
Smog and the smoke from the fires and everything else, because like that's the smoke we're seeing now down here even is from the fires up north in Alberta. When and it's same with down east in Ontario and eastern part of Canada. I think we're not getting that so much. There's like the guy. Like, I'm on my. He knows at 8:06 Anyway. So, you know what I mean? Like, but again, with the climate change and stuff, and we always have said, hemp will save the world, right? We said, you grow hemp, but again, hemp almost like pulls everything out of the earth. So hemp isn't always great to grow, and, because it takes everything out of the earth too, right? Like,
absolutely. It's a heavy metal absorber. Like in some aspects, it's good. It just depends on where you're putting it in,
right? So, there's aspects you want to have it. There's other aspects. There's certain areas you wouldn't want to have it, right?
Well, in the aspect like, let's say for polluted soil areas, growing tomatoes are perfectly fine. The plant in the roots absorbs it up, but it doesn't go any further than the roots and stem. The actual fruit we can eat, even though if the area is completely polluted, and that will actually clean the soil, and we get a product from it. Where cannabis, I believe it goes straight up into the flower. It's not necessarily a fruit.
No, well, it's a flower. Difference.
Flower.
Yeah, it's a flower. So, how did you you've been involved? Because you've been to Canada to help with cannabis, related things. So you've been to Canada. You've been exposed to the Canadian medical, machine in the stores and stuff prior to legalization. And now Australia has gotten into a medical legal type of regime. So why don't you tell everybody when did you start using cannabis and why?
I started using cannabis, I think, around my early 20s. I started having bowel conditions really, and didn't know what was going on, and I was losing extreme amounts of weight, and dropped down to, I think it was like 54 kilos, and looked like a rake. I eventually saw a guy in Sydney called Professor Brody, who's the Centre of Digestive Disease in Australia. He's got a clinic down there, and he put me on a whole heap of different antibiotics that had to be signed off by Canberra to be made, and things like that really messed with my body. And they couldn't work out exactly what the bug was called. They didn't have a name for it. So there's no treatment for it, in a sense. Like, the medication that they put me on, it held the bug back, but it didn't actually destroy the bug. So I started looking into cannabis with my brother, and then from there, that was basically history. Started looking into it, seeing the documentaries from over in Canada and the US about people. My illness is on the lines of Crohn's and Graves' disease sort of thing. It has a lot of similar aspects, maybe today it would be what I've got is classified under that. I haven't been tested or for that, but started doing treatments of 1 gram a day, and as close as I could when I could access it, and that was the illegal market. And until until today, where you can pretty much go. You can find, not every doctor supplies cannabis. There's certain accredited doctors that you can go to. Some have opened their practices up and are willing. Others are still really closed off because they're family practices and they just don't go there. And yeah, so medicine's really expensive, but it's available. It doesn't matter if and the
We're
illegal market.
You're paying about the same prices as we are, right? As a
Yeah.
patient, it's $10 a gram, $10, whatever, $100. You said kind of,
Well,
Australia.
$80 to $100 for a gram of dabs, concentrate.
Yeah.
That's the black market. On the illegal market, you can't get concentrates. You can only get liquefied in tincture form, or you can get herb. I heard one company is just starting to look at doing vape pens, and another one was actually selling grams of hash, dry sift hash, for $100 a gram.
Yeah. Well, that's the same as it is here. If you're
Yeah.
a patient, and that's like we've got the legal market, so patients or anybody can walk into a store and buy shatter. You can buy edibles. You can buy drinks.
Here's a little different. That's
right?
because we're not recreational yet,
Right.
in the sense.
And the thing is, that's the thing that the patients hear. We had the medical, but we had only LPs. Now you have LPs. Like there's no storefronts, right?
No, it's all at this stage. We're all. It's only medical in Australia. One state, the Australian Capital Territory, where all the politicians are, it's legal for recreational use, but you can't buy, sell, or share. So it's on you to grow it from a seed. You didn't acquire the seed from anyone, and then the rest of the country, it's just medical, and then it's up to the discretion of the police officer if they deem what the weed that you've got on you that you grew yourself is for yourself, not to be sold on the black market. That's up to them and the courts. You can get your scripts from those certain doctors, but they have to apply, and they can only apply for one type of product at a time, or they can apply for quite a few, but you can't go in 1 week and go, I want this one, I want that one. They have to apply to the government to get approved for you to access that product. And then you get your script. Then you've got to post that script out to the company and wait for the company to process it and send it to you. And that could take months.
And this is like through the mail?
And it's just through the mail. And they post it out through the mail.
You can't go in somewhere and hand them your script and pick it up?
You can't see it, smell it, look at it. You got to wait. And sometimes people are waiting 3 months for their script.
One script?
Yeah.
And how much will they prescribe for you?
It depends on the doctor, really, and the company that's supplying that product. Like this company brings its product in from Canada. It's not grown. And they're 3.5 grams a container. So the doctor prescribed me 6 of these, and I think it was $250, $300, somewhere around that. So, when it arrives, it arrives.
And that's supposed to last you how
long? There was no say. Take one. The first container I got, which is the one I got actually in my hand, it said the instructions is take 1 to 3 inhalations at night as directed by your doctor.
So 3 puffs of the joint.
Yeah.
And that's where you're supposed to make that joint last you for days?
I guess. Then I went back to the doctor and talked to them, and they wrote as directed by your doctor and cut all of that other bit out.
Right?
Because I was just like, I'm in pain in the morning. It's not just at night. It's not just for sleep.
Right?
You know? Yeah.
For pain, and I need to up my prescription.
Yeah. So it's like once your script is done, your script's done. Some people have gone to the TGA and got an approval from the TGA to get a card to say that you use X amount per day, but you have to get your doctor to be on board to write the right notes and all of that, and to to get that approved. As far as I know, I haven't bothered going through it. And
Well,
yeah,
and that sounds just so complicated. It just
Yeah.
sounds, it's like mind-boggling complicated. To have to do this to get a doctor to do that, to mail this to get that. Wait.
yeah.
That just sounds crazy. Like, is it like you can't even like? Can you do it online? Like, can you
You've got to
email,
say
or is it
some
like
doctors are online, and some are you've got to actually go see, and you've got to pay X amount of money to apply. First time it costs you so much, and then it's a little bit less every time. But that's not counting the cost of your medication. That's just and you're not getting any rebates back or anything from the government.
no? Of course not.
It's not passed through the TGA. No companies pass through the TGA, to make the product cheaper. Funded by the like every other drug. It's funded by the government.
Well, does the Australian health, like, do you have a health ministry? Like, how do you, like, who decides in Australia what cannabis is? Like, do you, like, in Health Canada, that's who kind of everything, all our drugs have to go through, has to be all Health Canada approved. So
Yeah,
Canada,
well, that's the Therapeutics Good Association, Australia.
okay, so that's for pharmaceuticals too, or just?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, so that's like Health Canada then. What's it called?
TGA, Therapeutics Goods Australia, or Association Australia.
Right. Okay, so do they recognize cannabis as a medicine? Because our Health Canada doesn't.
That I believe they do, but as a medicine, but there's no support as of far from the government to help lower the price of medicine. You can't get any rebate back from like codeine, a 5-pack of codeine is $43,
What?
And that's not on the the scheme. A packet of 20, sorry. Packet of 20 is like $9, something like that.
That's still ridiculous. Like, we don't pay that much for Advil.
Yeah. I think Advil. Well, codeine, you have to get a prescription.
Right. And like I said, I got Morphone, and it's not that much.
Yeah, you can't buy it from the chemist at all, under the counter.
Prescription for it, right?
Yeah.
I think it's the same here. So those would be like a Tylenol 3 with codeine. That's probably what they're like, your codeine tabs, right? Only it said acetaminophen. Does it have acetaminophen in it too, or just codeine?
Codeine phosphate.
Oh yeah, so that's what they gave me too. Straight up codeine. My doctor gave it to me for pain.
Yeah, they were giving me the one packet with 20 in it with Panadol mixed with it. The doctor I saw in Newcastle that always looked after me, she said, that's not really healthy over a long period of time, taking a lot of Panadol.
Yeah, no.
And she said the pain relief is coming from the codeine, not really the Panadol. So that was good.
Like it would be like the same, codeine's a prescription here too. And and the cannabis is helpful, on some aspects to a lot of things, but you take caps and other edibles and stuff as well, though, too, right? You don't just.
Yeah. When I can, like everything's so expensive. It's, you know, as I said, $100 a gram for extract, and then I get my caps like made into, you know, hundreds normally.
Yeah.
And only because I know the person, I get it for that price. Other people might have to pay a little bit more, you know, sort of thing, because they're going through the time and process, you know.
And still having to rely on not really a resource that's.
Absolutely. Like it's just, you know.
So you don't hit and miss, and you know, because
Yeah.
let's,
You know, at
there's so
least
many.
some people can get the. There are some growers out there that are, you know, silent and quiet enough that they can grow the strains, and they know the strains that's getting through, but no one's really growing a constant supply of one thing unless they're a legal supply.
Well,
Working
that's
for the med-
right, like especially.
and even that, we're finding a majority of our weed gets sent over to you guys.
Really?
A lot of our companies were set up to grow for you guys over there, and as far as we were told, as far as our looking through, and yeah, we have quite a low supply, considering we should be able to grow quite a bit here. You know, as I said, people are waiting 3 months.
Canada's got this glut, and we're sending a lot of our weed over to Australia.
Well, it's, yeah, I don't know where the lie is within the truth, or
Yet, if you were coming to Canada and you brought your medicine with you, you'd get busted. But it's okay for the government to ship fucking weed across the world. Isn't that a bit of hypocrisy?
yeah.
I just can't get over
But
that.
some people, yeah, there are some people in Australia that get away with coming into the country from the US or Canada into Australia because we've been approved in Australia, and those people have been approved in Canada as using it for medical, and so they get some sort of blind eye pass and be able to bring their stuff through. But, you know, these are people with kids that have epilepsy and things like that, and, you know, which is totally reasonable why they have to have it on them. But everyone should be able to. If you guys are medical, we're medical here. It shouldn't matter, you know.
No, it shouldn't. We've got our pink papers,
and on top of it, you're part of the Commonwealth. So the system should be all set up. You know, it shouldn't be some. I could understand.
I shouldn't have to have a visa to come to Australia, but I would have to apply for a visa, right, to come to Australia.
Yeah, and I have to go over there, but it passes through really easily. To get a green card for a holiday visa was, you know, it took 24 hours, less than that, for me to get approval.
We need a passport. We need a visa. We're Commonwealth countries, right? We've been connected.
Yeah.
Commonwealth. Yet we still need these papers when we're all in. It just makes.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Like going to the UK. My great grandmother lived there. Okay, I have to get some paperwork to go there.
Yeah. No, I agree. It should be very simple for us to travel. That should be the whole point. Yeah, but it must be the whole slowly disconnect and become our own country sort of attitude.
I think the Ukraine war has made that whole thing change. To be honest, I think that whole
that and 9/11.
Yeah.
9/11 really fucked around with moving anywhere.
Yeah. Like I just think that the dynamics have changed so much now, especially with the war going on. I think a lot of, like, I don't know, it's just weird.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked about China and stuff before, but how the influence they've got in Australia too, right? That dynamics are changing in that aspect too, that China's not going to have any influence on our Commonwealth countries because we're doing our own thing. Like, we're not going to listen to China.
No.
We didn't listen to, whatever, when they said we couldn't legalize cannabis in Canada.
Well,
We did it.
then
Without,
again, our minister has just gone over to China to do a peace treaty on whatever's going on between our two countries. They've stopped shipping products to us and stuff like that, so we've gone over there to try and sort the issue out.
oh man, pretty hard to be a patient anyway. Because you're worried about your health, you're worried about your food chain, you're worried about, can you get your meds? Because a lot of everything, chain supplies, right?
Can
COVID
you
kind
pay
of
the bill?
everything up. Like, and let's talk about the weather. We want to grow weed outside, and you can't even do that because it's too fucking windy or too hot.
And we're not allowed to. Even like Canberra can grow 2 plants per person, 4 per household. So if you got 3 adults, you can only grow the 4. That sucks, But
Or in Canada too. Put them in your backyard. You can't grow them in Quebec at all or Manitoba. So is it state to state in Australia too? Like every state gets that, or is it municipalities, or how does that work over there?
it's just the Australian Capital Territory. Everywhere else, it's illegal to grow. It's set up, as far as we can see, like it's set up for the pollies and their kids. So no one's getting arrested. Like they've just done what you guys have done, decriminalized, legalized all recreational drugs up to 1.5 grams.
Oh, that's only in British Columbia. That's not across the country.
Well, that's only in Canberra that they've done that.
Is it like a province, or is that just a city?
It's a province or a state, or it's a territory. It's a territory. We do territories and states.
Okay. Gotcha. So they can do their own thing. They have their own governments, right?
Yeah. Well, that's where all that's our capital. That's our capital. So that's where all the politicians are. That's where our heads of state are. So.
And they're going to legalize all drugs there.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. That's odd, because if it was in Canada, they'd do it somewhere in fucking the Northwest Territories and nowhere near Ontario where the Ottawa was. Right? They would never have their own backyard. Oh my God, right?
They'll do it so that all the politicians and their kids won't be picked up for, then it won't be in the news. They can be in their rooms or in the, Chamber of Parliament doing lines. And that's as long as they've got their 1.5 grams or 1 gram of heroin, then there's no news.
Do you think that they would do that?
No, they have. They've approved it.
You're kidding me.
No.
Oh my gosh, Mardi. I didn't know any of this. I mean, I'm in Canada, and your politicians are doing lines in Parliament? Like,
I'm saying they will. I'm saying they will be able to. Not that they will be doing it on camera. You know what I mean? Like, it stops any politician getting fucked over by this person or that person in Parliament, or hitting the news. Getting pulled over by the police and having a gram of coke or speed or ice or MD or whatever you like. Or acid.
Yeah.
But, we'll see at Parliament time at 1 o'clock in the morning who is wide awake.
Right? How the bills are all getting passed at 3 in the morning.
They will be getting passed very fast.
I don't know. We're going to take a quick break and thank our sponsors. We'll come back and talk about that, because I have a theory about legal drugs, and I don't think, whether we do them or not. So we'll be right back after we take a quick break and thank our sponsors.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Pace Radio is the people advocating cannabis education radio network.
Are you a cannabis content creator? Are you looking for a place to have your content seen? If you answer yes to both questions, then you need to check out cbgtv.com. CBG TV broadcasting to a worldwide audience. Find us at cbgtv.com.
Are you watching television on Roku, Fire, maybe an Apple TV or even Chromecast? If you are, then download the Boxcast app and search for CBG TV.
Did you know that the Pace Radio Network isn't just a radio network? That's right, because most, but not all of our programming is now done via video and is then podcasted at paceradio.net. So if you want to watch, yes, watch our programming, you'll find us on the Pace Radio Network's Facebook page, plus the show's own page, and you'll find us live on the network's YouTube channel. And don't forget, you can find it all, video and audio, at paceradio.net.
Legacy 420 have an awesome array of cannabis-infused beverages, from pop to Nature's Nectar's teas, all in amazing flavors. What a selection! We even have a delicious mango-infused juice, and let me tell you, it's delicious.
Everything is infused in-house, so we buy our syrup from, the same place where everybody else buys their syrup for their pop, and the infusion is done in the lab. It's all canned here, labeled here, produced 100% on Tyndonega.
We have two lines of drinks. One's called our Nature's Nectar. That was our original line that we came out with. And then we also have a line under the Red E brand. We have them in 10 milligrams, 30 milligram, and 60 milligram cans.
What a great selection for a get-together with friends or after a long day. Remember, if you want to wet your whistle with on-site lab-tested products, come see your trusted partner. Legacy 420 out on your road.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
All right, we're back. We were talking about legalized drugs and, all the different kinds of, everything that's been legalized both in Australia and in one province and in British Columbia. And I'm not sure, I don't know what's going on here because I don't know the drug scene. I don't know where to get this type of substance income because I've kind of kept myself just to the cannabis. And now that it's legal, I can just go into a store and never have to even be around people that might have something else in their closet, right? So I don't have to. I just stay home. I go to work. I go to the store. I come home. I watch some TV. I do my shows. I do my little bit of volunteer work, and I stay away from that whole thing, right? But that being said, even if there was a store with heroin in it, I'm not going to go and start using heroin just because I can get it in the store, right? So I think that, being legal, I don't think
right.
people, some people might be experimental. They might want to go and try it. And that's, that's their personal choice. And I think that everybody should have that. But I think they're going to do this legalization of small recreational, hard drugs like cocaine and heroin. It should be in a store, locked down, tested, just like they've done with cannabis. And if they don't have a safe supply to be able to let people buy it, then they shouldn't be offering it as a legal thing. Because there's people that are going to be out there selling poison still and taking advantage, and people are going to be walking around with poison in their pockets. And it's not, and it's so what you're just giving. So I like I said, if you're going to go ahead.
Well, it just stops the individual person that's not making any money off it being able to, if that's their choice and they're going to take the risk, they're not going to be crucified for it if something bad happens,
Yeah.
It's not stopping the drug dealers or the people that are bringing it in. It's not,
No.
it doesn't solve what's getting brought in or what's getting mixed into the situation. We do have in Canberra, they've opened up a facility there that anyone can bring their drug of choice in and get it tested. And so they've been doing a lot of studies, finding out that, a lot of the drugs in Australia are really piss poor. And some people are, like, someone brought in, I think it was like a bag of meth, and it turned out to be sugar.
Well, that's why we've got anchors.
So,
right, Dana Larson has, drug testing facilities in Vancouver, and that's what they're finding. So, with the drug alert, though, if somebody does take the drugs into anchors and test it, as soon as they find some crap in it, we have a drug alert that'll go on our radio stations, and it'll be on our Facebook page, just saying drug alert, like poison and this. They're passing it off, and they're calling it dope and this and that, and it's a red substance. And it's like, so our communities are involved in trying to keep addicts alive, because addicts are people too. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Whatever, like, no matter what it is. But that's why, like I said, if they're going to make it so you can, I said cannabis is a lot less harmful. They have to have regulations and lockdown and stores and ID and all the government's hands in it. Then you better do the same fucking thing with safe supply, because people are going to drop dead, because the black market will take advantage of the legalization of these small amounts and just start fucking filling people full of fucking shit because they can.
Yeah, we need more testing facilities, and the government needs to be more on board with it. They really want to change what's going on.
Yeah.
Because if I bought some pills and was going to a nightclub and they had a setup that I could go take it to, and it turned out to be absolutely nothing that I was expecting, I would chuck them in the bin. I'm not going to, unless it turns out to be something I'm okay, I've taken before and I'm okay with, it's going to get thrown in the bin, other than me taking it and then having a horrible night because I've been dosed up with something that I wasn't expecting.
Right. Yeah. I just think, there's safer ways of letting people have the fun that they want, experiment the way they want, to make it so that they're safe, so that they don't end up doing, cocaine once a fucking year and end up dead, and their kids waking up and their mom and dad are dead because they took too much. There's fentanyl laced in their fucking their cocaine. And they went to the bar, got a gram of cocaine, came home, did a couple lines, and are dead. And that's happened. Yeah. Right? So, safe supply.
Yeah, fentanyl is a massive thing over there. It's not as much here. It does get around, but it's not as bad. More in the major cities you see it. But as far as I know, more fentanyl's given as patches in Australia, as far as I believe. So unless you know what to do with a patch, which I wouldn't have a fucking clue, and
they apparently can smoke them in jail.
It's we see more ice than input.
What's that?
That's okay.
Right.
Meth.
Like it's crystal, kind of.
Ice is meth.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know whether we can.
So, sorry?
I'm not sure that I've never heard that there's ice available in Canada. I think it's just, we call it meth. Straight up. It's weird. People that smoke that stuff, it does strange things to their brain.
Yeah. It's something that I stay away from. I don't want to have anything to do with it. And most people that I see that get onto it, it changes them big time.
Yeah. Me as well.
I've only seen ever a couple of people that I know that seem to hold themselves even on it. They might not have their life together, but they seem to be able to, what is it? you know, not a, yeah, like an alcoholic that can actually hold his alcohol and act, and you wouldn't know he's actually intoxicated.
Yeah. Yeah. They maintain because they need to have that maintenance, right? Their body's so used to it that they have to actually, yeah, I understand. Like the fact that cannabis doesn't do that to you. But you know what I mean? Like even though we use it as medicine and you know, but if you go without it, like I can go without it and it's not
There we go, you're back.
yeah, are you
stopped out.
is it raining? It started being rainy and it could be my end too. You got clouds coming in here too.
Yeah, we're we're in cloud cover today.
Right?
I don't know if you can see.
Oh yeah. You're foggy. It's like a mist.
Yeah. Yeah. Up on the mountain here.
Yeah.
Everything's wet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but our government doesn't put.
We might lose him. Sometimes, you know, when we're there we go. You're back.
Yeah. I don't know. What did I say? What did you hear?
We were talking about the government and then you went away.
Oh yeah, they don't support cannabis enough. It seems there's still a hold somewhere on the line that it's, you know, it's perfectly acceptable as a medication, you know, but when it comes to recreation, that's, you know, no. Surprisingly, when this is all happening, where all the politicians are, you know, they're saying no, you know.
I can't believe that. I can't believe that it's politicians that have got it, like, but I can because see, like Trudeau said, he never intended for cannabis to be an industry. It was for health and safety purposes, trying to keep it away from the and shut down the black market. It was never meant to have you know stores with advertising and T-shirts, and that was not what it was intended for.
It was never to go down alcohol, the same as alcohol and tobacco.
No. But that was never intended to be a big industry either. It was also for health and safety. When it first got going, you know, that's why they couldn't advertise either. They could, and then all of a sudden they realized that it, you know, caused cancer and boom. And if they hadn't have found out smoking in itself caused cancer because it's carcinogenic, and now that in Canada they're finding that alcohol is also a carcinogenic and they want to put a warning label on it for cancer on alcohol here too.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So all three of them are carcinogenics. And if cannabis would have come out at the same time as tobacco would have, it probably would have been freewheeling and fucking pot T-shirts and all kinds of stuff, you know, when Marlboro was, you know, but it didn't. And now the regulations are so strict and tight on tobacco and alcohol as it is, even with their advertising. Like we can all of a sudden once in a while you'll see a beer commercial or something, but it's very far and few between.
Mm-hmm.
Where before, Budweiser commercials were every other commercial, right?
Yeah, that's right. Well, maybe not Budweiser for us here, but yeah, no, every football game, sports match, anything. Right now, our big thing is gambling ads. Every sports event or something, there is some sort of advertisement or you know, a TV ad happening in the shorts. It's, you know, the government are trying to crack down on gambling ads, but you know, all they're putting is you win some, you lose some. Betting's bad at the end of the ad. Like, okay, well, yes, that's true, but that's not going to, you know, not going to stop someone that's got an addiction to twinkle lights and all of that.
Right? Because you know, gambling can be you know, pretty addicting thing too. I've you know, at some point I had friends that like to spend a lot of time on machines. So, you know what I mean? It was the same thing. And you know, substance abuse is, you know, mental health issues, you're dealing with whatever trauma that you were dealing with, whether you're gambling, drinking, smoking, like, but then, like I said, there's the medical portion of this, and some people don't use it medically, they like it recreational. So if they're using that, is that an addiction? So, you know what I mean? Because I smoke this every day. Am I addicted to it? Not to the sense that I couldn't put it away and never smoke it again. I could, but I won't because it's my medicine, right?
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Fine line.
I know the edible's starting to really kick in again. I'm feeling it.
It's making you. Is it taking the pain away though? Because that's the thing.
It is taking just all top heavy.
Almost like ready to have a nap.
Yep, getting close.
Yeah. Hey, that's a good, because at the end, when you think about it, your body needs to heal. If you're sick, and the only way that you can actually heal and get better is if you're resting and sleeping. So that's why people say, I don't want to get high. And what do you mean? You're dying of cancer. Per se, I've had this happen to me a couple times where you've got your terminal cancer. You're terminal. You know you are. This little grain of oil isn't going to get you that high. But if it does, you can sleep it off. That's the best way for you to heal, right? So yeah, we've had those conversations where you've got chronic pain. Would you rather be a little bit high and have a nap? Go eat something, have a nap, because that inevitably is what's going to happen. Smoke it, eat it, whatever. Like, I'm going to smoke this. I'm going to go make a steak for me and Taven. I'm going to fucking smoke it. I'm going to go to sleep. And that's exactly what you need to do, right?
Yep, TV and the couch next to the fire.
Yeah. Well, I got no fire. I got a fan because it's hot here. So I'll be instead of by the fire, I'll be by the fan. And to be fair, on the other end of things, when it's you're sitting there and by the fan, I'm sitting by the fire.
I know, right?
It's just opposite. It's
we're never like on.
Right. Well, it's what, noon over there tomorrow, and it's like almost 9 o'clock on Monday here, right? And it's already Tuesday there. Yeah,
that's right.
So yeah, it was always hard to have my show early in the morning, because when I had my show at 10 o'clock in the morning, you guys were sleeping.
Yeah.
So how did I have my show at 8 o'clock at night? It's still.
I remember getting up once.
I know you did. You and Caroline did. Yeah. Caroline's done that for me before too. But now that I'm at 8 o'clock at night, it's 11 o'clock or noon your time, right? Almost. Yeah. So noon your time the next day. So it makes it easier for me to have guests, to have this time slot, because we're on Roku TV too, right? We've got a time slot on, Boxcast, and
nice.
Yeah. So so if you have a shout out to anybody in Australia that might be watching, what do you got to,
Well, not overly, to be honest. Everyone's illegal.
Right. And well, you guys just had Mardi Gras down there. Was there? Then you said there was no arrest. You unfortunately missed it because you were sick, but you said there was no arrest, right?
Sorry?
Was there any arrest from Mardi Gras, or you didn't hear anything bad about?
I didn't hear anything. People that I talked to said they didn't see any cops. It was quite relaxing, so that was really good. Surprise, And then this week, the 50th anniversary of the Aquarius Festival is on in Nimbin. So there's a whole lot of hippies running around the place, prior hippies running around the place. They'd be walking around now, I guess, with their canes and things like that. And
probably. I'm not quite there yet. I'm not quite. I was born after the hippie era. So I was one of those 80s kids, right? My teens, but had kids and stuff in the 90s. So yeah, I'm not a hippie. I'm not all thousand sunshine and naked ass. No.
So they got a lot of workshops and different things going on around town and stuff. So a lot of people will be. Hopefully, it's all undercover for them because it'd be pretty dismal down there.
Right. Now,
Yeah.
is there cannabis that's accessible in Nimbin for them to go into a store and access? Because we didn't have legal dispensaries for prior to legalization either. There was always illegal dispensaries. Do you have those accessibilities?
There's a couple of, there's people selling weed on the streets, and then there's a couple of people sell them in shops, and then so there's always access around. You just, ask one of the locals, and you'll get sorted pretty quickly.
No, and do they have? That's good. That's good to hear. Because
Yeah.
like I said,
The quality might not be there. Like you might there could be there, might not be, but there's product 90% of the time around.
Right. Well, us Canadians are kind of spoiled.
I know.
You've been here,
All the AAA goodness goes straight to people making medicines and tinctures and stuff like that. So if you find something that's that sort of quality, you'll be paying a lot for it, or you're really lucky to find it.
Oh, yeah. It's really unfortunate that that they won't let you grow your own.
Mm-hmm.
Because the medical licensing like we've got here in Canada, right? You got 1 gram a day is 5 plants.
Yeah.
5 grams a day is 25 plants, right? So really, it would be more economical for everybody if they would allow you to grow that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they let you grow the 2 plants in Canberra for recreational, and if you need any more than that, it means you have to go to your doctor for medical.
Right. So you should be able to grow more plants then.
We should be. The system should be like that, but no, they want to go.
More plants. Like somebody
They
should
want us to spend our money, basically, for it.
Yeah.
So do I buy food for the week, or do I buy the medication that's going to last me so much? Or do I this or that? It becomes a real issue because, depending on your illness, you need more. So, and the government doesn't help out. It's not a medication as in, because most people on disability pension will be using cannabis one way or another, and most likely they'll be going to the illegal market, and every blue moon going to the legal market just to keep up with the doctor.
Now, do you have a government program that pays for your pharmaceuticals? Like, does that come out of your pocket too? Like, if you're on disability,
pay for the pharmaceuticals. It helps with the PBS. It helps. I'm pretty sure it's the PBS. They help pay for a portion of the medications, but the cannabis industry hasn't gotten that far yet, so it's not getting covered by the government or anything.
Right. Yeah, that's same here too. Like, it's not like we can write it off apparently on our taxes. I'm not going to write off my taxes. Like, what am I save receipts from the pot store and give them no, start doing that shit. You'll have Revenue Canada all over you. But yeah, it's unfortunate. But you guys don't have a constitution like we do, right? No. You have no constitution. You have nothing.
Yeah, we're a colony.
How does that work? Like, are you guys not independent? They're like, you have your own government. You have your own.
Yeah, we have our own. We'd have our democracy, constitution, whatever. We've got our own paperwork saying what we are. But yeah, we're not necessarily like you guys. We still got, I think, are you guys, I don't know.
King's
I'm
still
not
head
sure.
of our state too.
Yeah, King's still head of our state.
But he's got-
Our flag hasn't been adapted. We're still a colony. We're not our own country under the Commonwealth.
We're our own country under the Commonwealth. I think we got independence
Yeah.
and we're like I think it's 1985 for the Constitution or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
When Queen signed us over or some fucking thing.
Yeah. No, we're still part of whatever.
That whole twisted state.
Yeah, but I love it. At least the king can still get rid of our heads of state here if he deems fit enough. Like having a situation like Russia or the US where that guy is in power, there is no one to settle the argument. Other than a war where the king
can get voted out.
Sorry?
The president can be voted out. He can change, just like Trudeau can change, but Russia, he can't. Russia, he's in forever. At least with it, in Canada and the US, we get to vote. Like, there's still, like, they can get rid of Biden. Yeah. So that's not. True. But China and Russia, he's got himself, you know what I mean? Those are dictators for sure. They're never going to step down. They deem themselves leaders forever, right? So that's the, atrocity of it all. And they're autocrats, and they want to keep they're dictators.
Yeah.
That's why people are running from fucking, Hong Kong. They don't want to stay in Hong Kong since Hong Kong had to go back to China and become part of the mainland China under communism. They're running. Fucking get me out. And now they can't even leave. And they're going to do the same thing to Taiwan. People are running from Taiwan.
Yeah. Australian government's still holding up that they're going. They're not settling down with Taiwan. They'll still be there to back Taiwan against China if it happens. But everyone's focusing on Russia right now, and I can't see China. China doesn't want to be held with Russia, but they don't want the war to end so far. If everyone's focusing on Russia, lets them play around as much as they want.
I think he knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
And he's right along with Russia. He hasn't stopped watching both ends. That fucker's he's smart. And he's also...
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been around.
That guy's going to be the demise. It's going to be him.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be China. Xi Jinping or what's his fucking nuts from North Korea.
Yeah.
Watch. That's who's going to be at the demise of the world. Those two.
It's going to be interesting.
They hung a guy in Thailand. Was it Thailand? Yeah, I think it was Thailand. For 2.25 kilograms of cannabis.
Yeah, no, that's fucked.
Right? Fucked. Okay, well, on that note, that's why we have to legalize cannabis worldwide for the safety of the people, because nobody should die over cannabis.
Absolutely.
And that's the end of the show. So, thanks for coming on and pulling me out of the fire and joining me in the middle of your beautiful, rainy, foggy day. And I'm glad that you came and join me, because well, it's always good to connect, because to find out what goes on your world, right? So it's totally different from ours. I think it's always very interesting to hear other patients' stories from different parts of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to be on.
Awesome. Well, stick around after the show and we'll have a little chat. I'm just going to let the ending run and tell everybody we'll be back next Monday. Same time, same place for Cannabis and Coffee with Marijuana. Thanks, Mario, for coming on. We'll see everybody else again next week. Bye.
See you later. Bye.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
When you have a pain that's reached its peak, Legacy for 20, it's so unique. If organic cannabis is what you seek, here's your trusted partners 7 days a week. Suppository salves, vapes and drops, topicals, edibles, infused pop. Just when life seems like it ain't easy, at Legacy 420, enjoy a pop freezy. Lab tested products, make them the GOAT. Legacy 420 out on your road. Legacy 420 in Tyendinaga Mohawk territory. Indigenous organic cannabis at its finest.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Are you a cannabis content creator? Are you looking for a place to have your content seen? If you answer yes to both questions, then you need to check out cbgtv.com. CBG TV broadcasting to a worldwide audience. Find us at cbgtv.com.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.